It can be a daunting task trying to explain how the mind of a man works. Truth is, some men can't explain their own selves. Women have tried everything that they know how to do to understand their mates. Often they find themselves backed into a corner with less information than when they started their quest. That seems to be the makeup of most men. But the fact still remains. Our significant others are wanting to get closer to us by learning all they can about us, what makes us tick, what keeps us going, what motivates us, and what inspires us. This episode of the Relationship Therapy Podcast is going to reveal some tips on understanding your man.
You've tuned into the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr., a podcast designed for couples who are married, couples who are dating, and have marriage in their future. We will guide you to the principles that will make your relationship better. Stick around. You might just learn something that will help your relationship last longer, grow stronger, and become healthier. Now, here's your host, Tony Miller Sr.
Hello, everybody. This is your host, Tony Miller Sr., and welcome to another episode of the Relationship Therapy Podcast. I want to thank you for tuning in to this podcast, the Relationship Therapy Podcast. We're trying our best to help couples grow stronger, last longer, and become healthier. That is our goal. And this week, we have a serious hot one for you. Women have seen their relationships crumble because they never really got an opportunity to understand the man that they have pledged their love to. Men are a strange enigma for the female persuasion. What women are looking for from their men differs from what most men are willing to share. This has been going on for a very long time. In order for the relationship to become better, men will have to become more transparent with their mates. In this episode, I'm going to share some tips on understanding your man. Hopefully, it can give a woman a roadmap on how to move forward with the one they love. What I'm giving in this episode may not apply to every single man in your life, but it does apply to a high majority of us men. So let's get ready and let's go. As I get ready to give you these 4 tips so that you can understand your man, I want you to understand that it is not an absolute. I said it earlier, but for the most part, these certain points hit your man correctly, and some won't even have anything to do with him. So let's get started. The first tip I want to give you is men have needs just like women. That is the ultimate truth. A man has a trouble sharing with their significant other. They also want their needs to be met, just like women. Now, before we allow our minds to race to the bedroom, and I know many of you are, I'm not talking about the sexual needs of a man, but instead I'm talking about the emotional needs that men tend to not share with their mate. They need them. Men want to be understood. The problem is most of us don't know how to translate those feelings to our mates. When I say understood, I mean men want our mates to grasp our highs and our lows and help us to navigate them without all the fanfare that could possibly go along with it. Here's what I mean. When our jobs have beat us up, or life has just put a full court press on us, we tend to want to try to figure everything out by going into our emotional caves without even sharing what's going on with our mates. In those caves, we will need our mates to be more encouraging instead of demanding to know all the facts. Men hold things more than women for the most part, but encouraging men goes a long way toward men excelling through our problems. Men don't like asking for this help, but some way, somehow, we're wanting the encouragement from our significant other. Women can't read our minds, but men tend to think that they can, as well as women thinking men can read their minds. We want encouragement from you. I'm saying to you, women, we love to be encouraged, especially from someone who is special in our lives. If you want something from your man, make sure that you have built him up by encouraging him through his storms. Men love to be praised. That's probably not a secret to the woman. But men, we also have those needs. Here's point number 2. Men are competitive beings. Now, I know that's not a secret. Women, if you have not figured it out yet, let me be the first to say that men are competitive beings. For many of us, nearly everything in our lives is a competition. We were born with that instinct to compete. For many men, we don't know when to cut that competitive nature off. There will be times when we begin to compete when it's not proper time to do so. Women, you can talk us down when we get that far out there. We need you to do that. The truth of the matter is, we need you to specifically talk us out of it. We want to be better for our significant others. We want to be better for our families and even our friends, and even our bosses on the job. Now, all we have to do with that energy is for men to focus on being a better mate to the one that we say we love. Transparency is a much needed quality that men are lacking in their relationships. Men have labored with their competitive nature for so long that the off switch is often not found. But there is a new full-fledged competition that men are now fighting against. It has slowly started lurking upon men, and the truth be told, we really don't know how to deal with it. It could upset the balance in the relationship, and even worse, it could totally destroy the relationship from the inside out. What I'm talking about is when their mates start earning more money than them, or that same mate is more noted in the community than the man. It gives the man an inferiority complex that begins to make them be shallow and even hostile toward their mate. It's not the mate's fault, but that is how men think. The problem with the man thinking this way is that they seem to forget that the couple is one. Let me repeat that again. The problem with the man thinking this way is that they seem to forget that the couple is one. Forgetting this major aspect of their relationship can cause the battle of the sexes in their own homes. That, my friends, is never a good thing for any relationship to go through. We're about to transition into the third tip in understanding your man. Here it is. Men want to be respected by their mate. I want you to listen to this. Studies have shown that for most men, the most important thing that they want their mate to understand about them is that they value being respected more than they value feeling loved. I think that bears repeating. Studies have shown that for most men, the most important thing they want their woman to understand about them is that they value being respected more than they value feeling loved. I know it sounds confusing and maybe even crazy, but men truly need to be respected by the one they love. In all actuality, being respected is a form of love for men. And when a significant other disrespects that man, they have a sense of losing their edge, or even as far as saying they're losing their love. It extremely is hard to understand and probably even harder to explain. But for those men, their feelings are shattered in the times of disrespect. Respect is their sign of trust. It's like they know that their mate is with them when they respect them. It is like their security blanket. And a lot of men, if not all, needs that respect. What does respect look like to men? Respect is a connection for the man to grab hold of with their mate. Harsh words toward them are also triggers for men. Men have been through so many experiences of being disrespected over their lives that when their mate does it, it brings back these negative thoughts and feelings that they've experienced before. And it will cause a man to shut down. How can a woman show respect to their mate? They can respect their mate by keeping a respectful tone of voice or not trying to control them. Men hate being controlled, or not manipulating them emotionally, or even continuing to bring up that man's past failures. All of these are direct triggers that leaves the man feeling unloved and unneeded. This is not to mean that you can't be yourself, because you must be who you are in your relationship. Your feelings matter, but so does his feelings. That's something both men and women should strongly consider within their own relationship. Our feelings matter. And at that point, you've got to come to some type of consensus. And if you do, it could add some much needed value to your relationship. Now we've come to the fourth tip in understanding your man. But let's do a quick backtrack of what we've talked about so far. The first point that I gave you is that men have needs just like women. Number two was men are competitive beings. And I just finished talking about number three. Men want to be respected by their mate. Here is the closing tip. Men have trouble opening up to their mates. Many men were raised to be strong and never show emotion. If you understand this to be true, you've experienced it in your relationship. They had been told that showing emotion was their kryptonite, something that they needed to stay away from. It made them look weak, or you can lose your place as a leader of the family if you show emotions. I was even told that men never cry. The problem is it be some stuff bottled up inside of us, and it affects so many of our men. Older men have seemed to have held all of this in, and they've held it in with a clenched fist. To their credit, this is all they have ever known. But here's the issue. How will you express yourself or even release that inner tension that is slowly killing you? There are many reasons why men won't open up to their mates. And I just want to highlight just a few here with you in this episode. Here's reason number one. Men don't want to look weak. Looking weak takes some of their credibility from them. That, in their mindset, that just can't happen. Here's the second reason. Men are afraid to take their capes off. Men don't want their capes taken off because they will seem normal to everyone. Their capes seem to give them a place and position. And if that is taken from them, they feel like they have nothing left. The third thing is, and here's the deepest one, men don't want their vulnerability brought up at the later date. Here's what I mean. The man becomes transparent with his mate regarding something close to his heart, but somewhere down the line, it is brought up again from a negative perspective with their mate, who is now causing the damage that they cannot be trusted with intimate details from that man. It places the man in a position of despair and an avenue of mistrust. When we can't trust our significant other to hold tight to our secrets, it will send the man into a tailspin that puts a heavy burden on the entire relationship. And when the relationship has that, it becomes a relationship that has been placed in jeopardy of imploding from the ground up. That is why men seem to stay all bottled up. We don't want what we tell you to eventually come back up in a way that is trying to destroy us. So women, you can help your man by holding on to their intimate secrets so that they can still feel like they're keeping their manhood or they're keeping their capes on. Well, that's all I've got for you this week. And I hope this has helped you understand your man a little bit. It would seem that so many men are trapped in themselves and trapped in some old ways of thinking. And hopefully by you understanding this part of them and receiving these tips, women, you can now know how to navigate through these different steps with your man. So I hope you enjoyed it. Listen, I got to get out of here, but remember, it takes two to make a relationship work.
Thank you for listening to the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Tune in next time for more insight on how to make your relationship better. If you have any questions, please email us at tmrelationshiptherapy@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, it takes two to make the relationship work.